Looking at our next guest, I am like, where have they been all of my life? I'm ashamed to say they are right down the road pretty much from us, and I have not participated in the great things that they offer us. With us next here on the MegaCast, Abby Curtis with us. She is the co-owner of the Frankenmuth Woolen Mill. Great to have you with us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I will say, I was on your, doing the research today, and I was on your website and then doing some other research, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you're right down the street. How did I not know about you? But before we get into some of the great things that you've done to help the community during the pandemic, share with us a little bit of background about Frankenmuth Woolen Mill.
Well, we're a woolen mill that was started in 1894, so 127 years ago.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, it is. And we're still operating in the same building on much of the same machinery that we have since 1894. So we sort of say we're a working piece of history. And I think that in and of itself is pretty special. Then the woolen mill was started to make socks and mittens and winter woolens for our cold Michigan winters, because that was really needed in 1894.
And it's still needed in 2021.
Especially after this February. It was a cold one. And then during World War I, the mill was awarded a government contract to knit 66,000 pairs of socks for the doughboys in Europe. So that sort of positioned the mill in a really good spot to make it through the Depression. And then into the 50s and 60s, people were quilting at home all the time. They actually had on-the-road salesmen that would go around and sell wool batting. That would be the stuffing that goes inside of quilts. Now we do it all in-house, and we make wool comforters, mattress pads, and pillows.
So, Abby, this is amazing to me. My mother was a quilter. She would do it by hand, though. She was like a hand stitcher. But I'm looking at your quilts, and what is the process, and how have you survived for more than 100 years?
Well, I think hard work and some ingenuity has had a lot to do with it. Like I said, they've had some government contracts, and then they had traveling salesmen. For a while, they went into knitting yarn, and then the mill went out of knitting yarn. And now we're deciding, I guess, to concentrate on what we do best, which my husband and Matt and I feel is making all natural wool bedding. Today, I think it's extra special because we're using this old equipment. So in 1894, they didn't have chemicals and additives and all that type of thing. So today, we still don't have any of that. So I think the natural aspect of it is really important today because we're spending a lot of time in bed, and you don't want to be breathing in anything that might have any chemicals that could harm you.
So I think it's beautiful what your company is doing, but before we get to the organic side of your business, what's it been like for your company during the pandemic, because so many companies have had to shut down, at least for a period of time?
And we were one of those companies. It was, I believe it was March 23rd when manufacturing and retail was closed in Michigan. And so we closed, and then we were able to open back up in mid-May with the manufacturing end of it. Retail took a little bit longer because we do have a retail store downtown Frankenmuth, but so we did close for 2 months. We were lucky enough that we had made a lot of backstock, if you will, so our online business could stay open. And my husband and I and our daughter came into work every day, and we answered phones and sent out comforters, and we were able to weather that storm because we were prepared. But yeah,
that's what family does, right?
Yeah.
How old is your daughter?
She's 23. She was a senior at college, and she came home from spring break and didn't leave. And then we were like, we need you.
Welcome to the family business. You're going to work.
Yeah, it might not have been your plan, but it is today.
You know, she's so lucky, though, to have this as her background and also the experience of it as well, because I think I was reading, too, prior to the shutdown, you guys went to work for the community and making masks. How did that work?
Well, we didn't really do it to make masks. We were donating fabric that our local mask makers could make masks out of. It started out
But fabric was so hard to find in the beginning, right? It was a shortage.
There was a true shortage. Just as the shutdown was starting, I was talking to a friend and she said, do you have a little bit of fabric? You know, my mom and I, we want to try to make some masks. And I said, oh gosh, we have a lot of fabric and a lot of scrap fabric, because, you know, mask is only using like 7 by 9 inches of fabric. And I said, we're making huge comforters. 7 by 9 inches is a scrap that we have. So I brought her a little bag over and she said, can I tell my friends, do you have more? I was like, sure. And before you know it, all of our scrap was gone and we were just cutting straight yardage for masks. And we gave out patterns to people, and we put a table outside of the mill where people could come and just pick up a little mask packet with instructions and what they needed to be able to make a mask.
So in the beginning, you were so vital. How many masks were made out of the materials that you donated?
We are figuring it was about 35,000 masks.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, we even, you know, I'm sure we all felt this way, but a couple of weeks into the shutdown, it was like, oh my gosh, I just want to go for a drive. And so we had a couple of people from the Detroit area that had called for masks, and we were like, yeah, meet us at a gas station and we'll give you some mask fabric. You know, we just wanted a drive to have a reason to go somewhere. And so we made it down to the Detroit area a couple of times, and it felt good to be able to do something. And I think everybody last spring just wanted to do something to help. And making masks was it. It gave people meaning and purpose. And that happened for us too. So it felt good.
It is a great thing that you were able to do, but we're a year into this almost. Since then, we are all spending so much more time in our homes. How have sales been for your company during the pandemic?
They've been crazy good for us. I think that people had more time to maybe read about our story and what we're doing. A lot of people want American made and Michigan made. Those are things that we're really proud of. And so not only are we made in America, but our fabric is organic and we process the wool in an organic way. So I think that we all became a lot more aware when we were spending all this time at home of really what we were bringing into our homes. And so we were able to capitalize on that because we had that product. It was just a matter of people being able to find us.
But the beautiful thing as well is that you are also employing local people into your company as well. Talk a little bit about that during the middle of a pandemic when so many people are struggling right now. Well,
I think with everything being so local, we could really stay in contact with our employees through that pandemic. We also, when we came back, everyone came back, which wasn't the case for a lot of businesses. So we felt really fortunate that everyone was really dedicated to their job and to their work. And so it was really, it was in such a bad, dark time for so many people. It was really great for us because our work is like our family.
That's beautiful to know as well. And it's like Michigan made, and it's right here in our backyard. And you're supporting our families, you're supporting our community. Abby Curtis with us here on the MegaCast. She is the co-owner for Frankenmuth Woolen Mill. They are dedicated to making fully organic, locally homegrown bedding, and we have been spending so much more time in our beds, like just vegging out on Netflix and so many other things. Abby, before we say goodbye, anything else that you want to share about your company and your story as well?
I guess I should say, as far as wool bedding is concerned, there are a lot of natural health benefits from it that we haven't really talked about. One being that they keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer, and you don't have any hot or cold spots. So it's good
for women going through menopause, right? Or premenopause or postmenopause.
Amen to that.
Right.
So there's a lot of health benefits to it also, but we're just happy to be able to continue forward after 127 years, and we can't wait to see where we are in another 127.
So you survived the first pandemic. You're surviving the second pandemic. We're hoping not for a third, right?
No, we're hoping pandemics are over for the woolen mill.
I think the more important thing here is the story of your company as well. Where can people find out more information about your company?
You can find us online at www.wool-bedding.com. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram at frankenmuthwoolenmill.com.
So other than comforters, is that pretty much what you make? Just comforters?
We do comforters, mattress pads, and wool-filled pillows. And we also make wool dryer balls that can go into your dryer and replace dryer sheets.
Huh. That's interesting. See, I learned something new again, Tyler, every
always.
single day. Abby, it's so great having you with us. We so appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
But again, we want to say thank you for supporting our community during the pandemic and surviving as well. And we hope that people recognize that you're in our backyards and also the great product that you make as well.
Well, thank you so much.